These next two clips are from my sister and my father. They are two wildly different views. Not really, but you'll see some similarities and you'll see some differences in their views on how the situation was handled and how it should be handled and how it is being handled. And you'll see some of their different opinions on everything else that's going on. So, continue watching. All right, Sal, I'm just gonna ask you 5 questions.
I know, we've been through this.
Yeah. So what do you think of quarantine?
I hate it. I wish that it was less harsh, and yeah, that pretty much sums up my opinion. I hate it.
Okay. Do you think the state or the federal government is handling it right?
Partially yes and partially no. I think the federal government is doing as much as they can. Right now, it's a state's issue. That's what it comes down to. I think Donald Trump did the right thing, and it's not even politics. Like, it's pure numbers. Mm-hmm. I think Donald Trump did the right thing by realizing once, like, I think it was once our very first confirmed case was here, he shut everything down. All the borders were closed, everything. And then state-wise, I really don't think it was handled very well in our case. We live in New York. Obviously, I really don't think it was handled very well. If you look at different states, it shows that they had far less like harsh restrictions, and their numbers were like exponentially lower.
Okay.
So yeah.
What's your position on other things that affect you directly, like perhaps the protests or COVID itself?
So COVID itself pretty much affected me because I had to get my gallbladder removed, and I dropped 20 pounds in 3 weeks. That's not normal. So pretty much, like, I got really, really sick. Wait, what do you want me to look at, that or that? You, okay. So pretty much I got really, really sick, and I had to wait 3 weeks to even see a doctor. I went to the ER 3 times. Which is really not the place that I wanted to be in the first place because of all this COVID stuff. I literally walked past people who had confirmed cases of COVID. And then the whole thing with the protests, I've lost so many friendships over it just because of pure politics, which I think is the most dumb thing on the face of the earth. Like, the thing about politics is it's tearing kids apart. Like, I'm 15 years old. I don't need to be worrying about that. I don't vote for another 3 years.
You are completely right.
Like, I don't vote for anything for another 3 years.
The first time we'll vote at the same time. Exactly. Because I'll miss it by a couple months anyway. Exactly.
Like, that's, like, but it's still the whole thing, like, I'm losing friends over, like, police things. Like, I'm not a police officer. Like, I'm very far from it. So I think that's what kind of sucks, and what's affecting me the most is that I'm losing friends over the dumbest reasons.
Okay. How has COVID directly impacted your life?
I haven't been able to. I really didn't get to say goodbye to a lot of people that I wanted to, like in school and things like that.
For the summer and perhaps for an extent.
Exactly. Like, I had a lot of senior friends that I never got to say goodbye to. Like, I guess, again, we have, like, social media and things like that, but it's just not the same.
It's different.
Like, I wasn't able to go to graduation. I probably wasn't going to be able to go anyway, but it's still, like, at least I would have had the option, or, like, to at least, like, sit outside or do something, you know? Throw a couple parties, have fun with it. And, again, the whole medical thing. Like, I'm waiting for a test now. I have to wait 3 weeks when I'm not going to say what it is because it's embarrassing, but you know what's going on. I just have to wait for important medical procedures that I need, and it sucks.
And my last question is, what do you hope for going forward from COVID?
Moving forward from COVID, I honestly just hope that we as a society can move past this and learn from it. I hope that we realize and we learn from a lot of these Asian and European countries that, like, if you're not feeling well, you put a mask on, you know? Like, just simple things like that I think that us as an American culture have not fully grasped yet. And I also hope to learn that, like, we will learn from these. Like, it's what everybody keeps saying it's a new normal. It's not. Like, we have to figure out what our main issue is with COVID, and we have to figure out how we can make it better.
Absolutely.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, we have to figure out what our problem, like everybody, like whether it be like learning a new trick or like doing something, you have to learn what you're the worst at and take steps to move forward and make that better.
Okay.
So.
All right. Well, thank you for your input.
I got you.
This will really help me with my project.
I got you.
Okay, so Dad, I'm just going to ask you 5 questions about COVID and all that stuff. So, first question, what do you think about this quarantine?
I think the quarantine's a little overrated. I don't think we should probably be out and getting exposed a little bit to the herd, have the herd immunity and try and get things down. So we don't really we build up an immunity so it doesn't keep coming back being as bad as it is. I'm not a doctor, but I just kind of know how things work a little bit, and that's the way it should be, in my opinion.
Yeah. Do you think the state or the federal government is handling the situation right?
I think they did in the beginning, maybe trying, so we weren't all running around going crazy, but I think they've overreacted now. Both of them.
What is your position on these troubling times as far as the protests and the continuation of COVID?
My guess is you're trying to ask me do I think the protests are okay?
Yeah.
I think the protests for George Floyd are fine. It is deserving. He was, for lack of a better, the police officer played judge, jury, and executioner, and that's not right. But the stuff that's going on in Atlanta right now, I entirely disagree with. The man was, driving drunk and passed out in a Wendy's parking lot or Wendy's drive-thru and resisted arrest and stole a police officer's gun. And I hate to say it like this, but when I teach in inner city school, we have a justice system for a reason. You get arrested, you hire a lawyer, and that's the way it is. You don't say, no, I'm not going to jail. That's not how it works. So I agree with some of it. As far as saying no justice, no peace, well, they don't really want justice right now. They want their way because justice is taken care of. The men were arrested, they were charged, they were indicted, they were charged, and they'll go on trial. And that's what justice is. It's not it's my way or the highway. That's the way the justice system works.
And the next question is, how has COVID impacted your life?
Oh, I'm not in front of a classroom anymore. I had to do a lot of I had to redo my entire job. People are very paranoid, gotten a couple more arguments than I probably wouldn't have, and people are just so freaked out and you're standing too close to me. Shut up. Nobody wants to hear that. It's, at some point, you got to realize we're human beings and we do need contact and we're not supposed to be breathing through masks and all that stuff. Especially now that we're starting to see more people that have built up an immunity to it, or we're figuring more out about it. It's just, it's. I don't want to say it's overblown, but right now people are just starting to act all sorts of crazy.
And my last question is, what do you hope for going forward from COVID?
What I hope from COVID? I don't know. What I think is going to happen is we're probably not going to be back in school right away. Probably till sometime after the election where it will magically be cured. They'll figure something out so we won't have to go to the polls. And I'm not being a conspiracy theorist, but it's playing out that way, that people are doing things so we can change everything we do in our lives dramatically. And I think the media is playing really big into it, and they're hurting. They're not helping, and they're scaring people more than anything else.
Okay.
I mean, when you look at what the numbers are going across the country, they're going up and down, and I think it's the place that it's going up is they didn't really close right away, but now the place that closed right away, they're dropping significantly. So I mean, I think it'll get better. And I think at some point they've rushed everything through. I'm not really confident that there's going to be a vaccine, or if it is, it's not going to work. I mean, we have a flu vaccine, but 100,000 people die from the flu, every year. So, I don't know. It's nature, man. It's going to happen.
Well, thank you for answering those questions.
No problem.